Hi, Katherina. You ready for it?
Yes, I am.
Full of energy. Great. So perhaps, Katherina, before I ask you a few questions, because today we'll talk about the candidate journey, because for me, I'm always talking about customer journey. So for me, it's interesting to know how you see the things on your side. But for the people that don't know you, tell me, Katherina, who are you? What do you do in daily life? The floor is yours.
Yes, well, hello everybody. My name is Katherina Swings, and I help companies with an international footprint and who are in expansion, meaning that they have a lot of vacancies to fill and have a hard time finding the right candidates for their vacancies, to boost those vacancies by actually organizing the whole process as a treasure hunt, so that you look at the job market and the possible candidates from another perspective, be a bit more creative, act differently than your competitors, so that you can decrease your time to hire and find the candidates that will help grow your business. And I see that you've put the banner down. Is my landing page for my ebook with 44 ready-to-use tips. So you can just go to their website and download 44 ready-to-use tips already to boost your vacancies.
Thanks, very interesting. Yes. So today, Katherina, as I said, I wanted to invite you to talk about what you call the candidate journey, because for people who don't know me, perhaps people that have been watching or that are watching the live and that are part of your network. Well, I'm a social media strategist, and of course, when I work with companies, it's important that they know about the customer journey. Problem that companies have that start with social media is that they don't know who they are serving, who the audience that they want to reach, or that they don't have a clear product offering, or that they are selling too soon. All of these things actually are also in my book. But I know that when it comes to hiring, that there is also a journey.
Yes.
And perhaps it's interesting. Tell me a bit about first all the steps that you see, and then start with the first step explaining.
Yes, definitely. So the candidate journey is actually a sequence of touch points where you bring your candidate from knowing about you until onboarding that person as your new hire in the company. And I mean, it's a known journey. The steps are out there. There are 6 steps in the list. Well, you have 4 steps or 6 steps, but I based myself on a 6-step process, and actually I added a 7th step. And just to go over it, the first step is awareness. Actually, the candidate discovers that you as a company exists, and then of course also the vacancies within your company. And secondly, it is the candidate considers or takes the jobs you offer into consideration, and I call that the research phase, because the person will check all information that is available. And actually, they say that a candidate before applying checks 6 reviews or data points before even considering you as a possible future employer. And then after that, after the research, he or she says, yeah, this is interesting. So there is a certain click. The person starts seeing him or herself as part of your team, and then acts upon it, just like a buyer at a certain stage will decide to buy for you. For a candidate, it means that they apply for a specific role or spontaneously for a role within your company. And it's actually only at that moment that you are pretty conscious about who that candidate is, because that is the moment the recruitment process starts for you. So that is the selection phase, where you offer a lot of information to the candidate, and where the candidate will further assess and dig deeper into all the details that you offer him or her, and also the true life experience, even more and more virtual these days, but there is a live interaction between you and the candidate. And then the final phase, it's bingo, both parties like each other, and the hiring is then the sixth step in this process. And so the traditional journey stops here after these six steps. But specifically in countries like Belgium, there might be a lot of time between the hiring phase and then the first day at work, because we tend to have rather long notice periods, and not like in the US, where in 1 week or 2 weeks you can jump from one employer to another. Here it can take up to 3 months or even more. So it means that you need to nurture that new hire in that transition period, and that is called the pre-boarding, which is a more and more essential part of the bigger onboarding program that is already more commonly known and used in a lot of companies.
Sounds interesting. All these 7 steps. Also the pre-boarding, as you say, it's something that I think not everyone would think about it. Once the contract is signed, so it's done. No, it's not done. It's the same as in the customer journey. It's not once you have a new client that you can lean backwards. No, you need to be able to have a satisfied client, of course, and keep him really happy about your work, and that's so that he becomes an ambassador.
Yeah.
Okay, I suggest that we start with step 1, which is awareness. Can you tell me a bit more about what's happening during this step?
Yes, so from the employer side, you create awareness, visibility about first your company, so not immediately your job, but usually it starts from a broader perspective. You exist as a company, you are out there, you have a website, but it can also be the employees that work or in your company, or even suppliers, or any stakeholder, let's say, that is interfering with your business, can spread the word about you as an employer, and also tell other people, like, if it's nice or not so nice to work for you. So that is what we call the employer branding, and it's from the biggest perspective. So it's about company branding, but also reputation. So it is not always very tangible, as sometimes words are spread and it's not true. Sometimes it is fact based, but it is creating awareness and visibility about your existence. And of course, in this era, it is often through a website, but also more and more about social media. And so having spread the word out, like, we exist and we have interesting opportunities for you. From that, and part of that employer branding is actually also the awareness that you have as an employer, like, what is our value proposition, and like they say in marketing language.
Yeah.
So what do you offer? What is the value that you bring to the candidate? So from the candidate perspective, that would mean, how do you answer the question, why should I apply for you? What's in it for me? Because it is more and more a candidate-driven market, meaning that we have also in these COVID times still a lot more vacancies than we have available talent to fill those vacancies. So you have to convince the candidates that you have something to offer them. What's in it for them? Why would they apply for you? So that is really important to have that clear and to make that distinctive. You have to find different ways that show to the audience that you want to recruit that why they would apply for you. That's a really important point, and to have that distinctive from your competitors or people that are, or companies that are recruiting similar profiles than you are looking for.
And a question that I have, of course, like, it's in the customer journey, you need to know who is your audience, or your ideal audience, your target audience. And when it comes to awareness, you should have a clear view, where do you want to build awareness. And that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, of course, you talk about social media. Is it LinkedIn, Facebook, or how do you look at that?
Yeah, so actually, to answer those questions, I again build further on the marketing part of this whole process, because actually recruiting is more and more, you need to be a good recruiter, you need to be a good marketeer, because it's all about building a connection and longer time relationships. In order to talk to the right audience through the right media, because that's then your second question, it helps to build a persona, just like marketeers would do. So actually you imagine your ideal candidate for the role, and you put a name and a face to it, not to exclude all other people, but just to help you find the right language, the right tone of voice, the right words, the right things that connect with that audience. For example, if you are looking for engineers who reduce the CO2 emission from buildings, for example, in construction, then CO2 is related to climate. So probably you are looking for people that are really driven by the corporate social responsibility, but then really the planet's part in that sense. So then you might change your speech and emphasize the impact of that role onto that specific thing that drives that group of people that you need and that also exist and would be happy to work for you. Also, to relate to your second question, which medium to use? Because spontaneously we might say, oh, but you just search on LinkedIn and you will find your audience because millions and millions of people are out there. But that's not true, because not everybody is on LinkedIn. It's a certain segment of the society, and the same is true for Facebook. So it might well be that if you are looking for a truck driver, but I guess it will not help to post that on LinkedIn, but it might well be that a Facebook ad for that particular group of people will be successful through Facebook. So also there, the persona includes also where are these people, what channels do they use, and you might even end up sometimes with people who do not use social media, and then even a flyer in your own town might be really suitable. Just the old-fashioned way might sometimes help, and even it's an upcoming trend even to really have snail mail off a post. Catch the attention of certain target groups. So that's how the persona can really inspire you to put effort on the right channel so that you can reach the right people.
It's funny that you take the example of a truck driver, because I did this for a client in the past.
And what did your Facebook help?
And we didn't discuss this beforehand. It was just you take the example, and indeed I used Facebook for that. And it was even, it's one of my success stories. It was even, I didn't even spend $50 for that. They asked me, stop the ads, please, because we get too many reactions, too many people. And they had a problem because there was a truck driver leaving the company and they need urgently a replacement. And then because of the Facebook ad, it really worked. But then also LinkedIn is the logical place. But if you think about private banking, for instance, I've helped, it was a headhunting company. They looked for someone. To make a long story short, I used Facebook for that because Facebook also has the behavior information of people, and LinkedIn is also smart, but not as smart as Facebook when it comes to behaviors. Okay, this is the awareness phase. The next phase is the consideration phase.
Actually, consideration is really the research from a candidate's perspective. It's really the research phase where they try to talk to people who work at your company, or when they are really digitally very skilled, they would go to platforms like Glassdoor, where there's a lot of information from third parties about your company, about discrimination issues, about data, so that they can base that they can decide themselves with all information available. Let's say your target audience to come and work for you. There is the images, like I said, but we still work with the job ads. It's still out there, even after I think 5 decades. The template did not change. I it will vanish in the future, but for this time being, there is still a lot of it is still an important way to get the message out there. And what we see there is that it's often just a copy paste of a job description, and like it's one of my dadas or my mantras, like a job description is not a job ad. because a job description describes a job. It's usually an internal formal document that it can even be used for job grading purposes, with an org chart and a RACI in it, and a lot of information. But a job ad is actually, it sells you a job opportunity. I mean, that's basically it. So you don't have to have all the details in there. And you can follow, again, a marketing or sales concept of the IDA model that already exists since the 19th century for commercial communication. But that is very useful also if HR professionals would use that into their job ad. So where is that about? Because in the consideration phase, it's really important to use that, because it works as a funnel, actually, and takes your audience that is already considering and researching you, to bring that person from the consideration phase to the I'm interested phase. But then the next step, you don't want just their attention, you want their interest. So you need to build further on that. By saying something about the role or the impact of that role. Usually it is the contribution that you can bring to the company that encourages people to apply. And then, of course, the persona can help you, because what drives those people? Maybe they want to work in an international environment. Maybe they want to contribute to the to lowering the CO2 emission. And I'm having that example already for the second time, I realize, but just also because everything that is green and the climate is really a big driver for a lot of people. And then, so that's the A. So we have attention, interest, and then the third one is desire. People need to feel now, after all the data that cognitively they have entered their brain, now they need to start feeling, oh yeah, I really want to be part of that company. That really sounds great, and I really want to do this, and I would like to give my contribution there because I'm driven by. It can also be money. I mean, some people are driven by money, and they know, okay, but I want to drive a nice car. I mean, that exists. It depends on the business or on the drivers that you also want to put forward in line with your company culture. And then the fourth step is the other A from IDA, and that's action. You want people to apply. And it needs to be clear how. And so a very important tip there is, please make your application process mobile friendly. I think that's similar for customers, but more than 50% of the people apply online. A lot of people still do not have a computer. It's really the case, but everybody has a mobile phone. And if you need to upload a CV or a motivation letter through your phone, you really need to be already a very seasoned user to be able to do that. So make it simple. They need just to type their email, or they can use their LinkedIn profile if they have one, or you follow up in a call, and then you find out more information. But application forms that take really a lot of time and a lot of texting that they need to input, remember, they will do that on their phone and not like with 10 fingers typing, is really a huge obstacle that will make you lose maybe interesting candidates for you. So that's one thing. And the second thing, it's really the more personal it is, the better it is. So if you have really a face and a name, like Anna with this picture will treat your application and will come back to you within 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever commitment you can make, is much more powerful than, okay, talent@jobs.com has received your message, because people still relate to people and not to abstract logos or email addresses or businesses.
I can give perhaps the example of my first employee. I put an Instagram story out there. It was on Friday evening, and I added some euros to it to boost it in my region, the city of Leuven, and a few kilometers around it. So, and I was looking for someone interested in social media marketing, a certain age and so on. I wanted a digital native. And actually, by the end of the weekend, I had 5 applications, and some were at night, during the nights, were at 2 o'clock, whatever. So this lady was swiping to her story and saw, oh, I am interested. And I just asked her to, reply, jump on my DMs, just send me a DM. And with some and based on that, the conversation started. And of course, she could have a look at my Instagram profile, see what I was doing, and so on. Of course, this is my market. It's if you are a bank, it will be different, for instance. But when you say it was related to me, my person, and it was really simple to do an application.
Make it simple, really make it simple, because people don't read 5 pages and they don't type themselves 5 pages. It needs to be really quick.
Okay. Do you want to say anything else about the 4th step, or do we go over to the 5th one?
I think we can go over to the 5th, if they have applied in a mobile-friendly way. The so-called selection process, which is then really the life experience, because of course the candidate journey is this different phases of touch points, and all of these touch points together give you the candidate experience. And so until this step, it was online or people reading things, so you didn't even know about this person, that he or she was considering your company as the future employer. But at this stage now, they have applied for the job and they are part of the selection process. So all of a sudden it becomes a live, even if it's virtual live experience. So there is direct interaction between the candidate and the employer. And what is really, really important is that you should treat all applicants, regardless if they are fit for the role or not, as your guests. We really need to think about hospitality, that business, that industry. They have a lot of good proactive steps of making experiences really personal and memorable. And I think we can really learn a lot about it. Why am I such an advocate about it? Because I've heard so many sad stories of people who lose faith and who really turn against certain employers where they have applied for, because they have not been taken care of as a guest. And just to make that very clear, I mean, if you invite somebody to your home, and that is then the comparison when you invite somebody to your company, virtually or physically, to apply for a role, that person is your guest. So you do not let that guest wait outside in the rain for numerous hours or hours, but usually minutes. So the person is expected, is welcome. People know that he or she is knocking at the door, is welcome, is take a seat. In non-COVID times, they are offered a coffee. People address that person with their name and treat that person with all the respect that you would do with a guest that you welcome to your house. And when a guest leaves your house, you would never ever say, well, and if you don't hear back from me in 2 weeks, then we are no friends anymore. You don't do that. Then you would never do that. But that's really happening still in 2021. One of my friends, she said, I applied for this role, and it's really like a luxury business. And that's what the people told her. If you don't hear back from us in 2 weeks, you're not taken for the role. I mean, that is not done. You really cannot do that. That kills your candidate experience. That kills your candidate journey. And as a result, also your employer brand, because she told me, she probably told all her friends. And if she's really like 70% of the people with negative experiences, well, that's at least what research shows, that 70% with a negative experience during the candidate journey would mention that on social media. So just for initially you would just not do that because you treat with respect. But if you are more a data-driven person and you really need proof, you really should not do that, because it will harm your business in the long run. So yeah, and the selection process, it's not just HR, it's all the stakeholders. It's the lady or the man at reception. It is people waiting there together, because often at the reception, because I work often as an external person, so I've been often in receptions, and then you're sitting there and you hear conversations that you think, oh, I should not be hearing this. This is internal. So, it is an atmosphere that you create, not just for your candidates, also for your suppliers or your customers, to have a respectful setting, and you breathe that in your company culture. And it's important for all stakeholders, but definitely for your candidates.
Absolutely. And it's also, it's both ways. As you say, the chance is because people are really, when they are emotional, it's really fast to put something on Twitter or on Instagram. Oh, I'm disappointed, and they just put it in an emotional reaction, and then it gets seen by a lot of people. But also the other way around, when they are really positive, they can put it.
Of course.
Even if they don't have the job, but they were handled in a respectful way. I see it also on LinkedIn that they can recommend someone else because they see, okay, there is no fit, but. And it doesn't mean because it is now that in the future there will be a fit. With my former company, I have hired people, not, after the first conversation, but 2 years later, because we were again in touch, or we kept in touch, and then the moment was not right at first, but 2 years later, the moment was right. And people also evolve. Let's go to number 6, which is hire.
Yeah, bingo. So there is a match. Both parties find each other, and are willing to pursue a common future as employee and an employer. And of course, that is a celebration moment. Although that still today, it's like more like, here is the contract. Put your signature here, and bye bye. But if we think more about as a marketeer, and we think about experience, it is really an unforgettable moment if you do a bit more than that. And it doesn't need to be, very expensive to make this an unforgettable memory. You can just take a selfie and have the selfie on a frame the first day of work, or have it sent at home. You join the family, the company, or having the CEO or somebody else hiring hierarchy to come and say hello, or just offer a box of pralines, or there, depending of course on your company culture or your business, you can really make that a fun thing to do. And when it's fun, you build memories, and experience are just are just memories one after the other that you can keep in mind, that you in 10 or 20 years you would say, oh yeah, I remember the first it was not my first day, but I came and signed the contract and I got this surprise, or even a few confetti things can make it already a more celebration thing. So I think there we need to be more creative, and marketing people and HR people should work together, because marketeers are often they have these crazy ideas, and I have an HR background, so in my experience HR people are like more, you can't do this and you have to follow the rules and the contract says this. So but I think if we join forces there, we can and we make these experiences more concrete and fun and not prescribed. It can be different for every new hire. But just to give the vibe of the moment and the vibe of the company already on that moment, I think there's a lot of opportunity there to make it fun, and memorable.
Yeah, you know what they say? People forget what you say to them, but they always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, Maya Angelou, it's one of my favorite quotes. Good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So actually, if your first day is like that, then they will really be enthusiastic about it. They will really start full of energy, And then I think what's also important, you said it in the beginning, is this step number 7, the pre-boarding, because if then it's 3 months radio silence, let's say, I don't know if this is then it's like a graph that goes up and directly goes down when it comes to enthusiasm. But let me give you the floor for this point. Pre-boarding.
Yeah, it becomes more and more important because, like I said, it's a candidate-driven market, and people might have different options, and then in the end choose for you and have the contract signed. But then, indeed, if it takes 2 or 3 months for them before starting, they might start doubting: did I do the good thing? And maybe another employer is still pulling them and like, "Why, you should come here, and we can maybe offer you more," because it's a bit like that when certain talent is scarce. So it's really important that in that pre-boarding phase you keep contact. You can set up like a virtual coffee. You can send a card from the team with a countdown. Still 4 weeks to go, and it will be your first day, or whatever is there in the team. And again, it does not need to cost a lot of money. A virtual coffee is set up for no money except the time that you spend in it. A card, specifically a handwritten card. I mentioned it in the beginning, but a handwritten card via snail mail. I mean, how many Christmas cards did you get via mail? You can probably count that on one hand. So people are not used anymore to have a mail on their name in their mailbox. On their concrete, so via snail mail and not their mailbox.
Yeah, I know, but also the fact you said it's handwritten, that also makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So a nice card, just like we are looking forward to welcome you, or I mean, maybe you have somebody in the team who's really artistic, or maybe somebody is really good with words, and so that also you get to the team gets to know each other from a different way, in a less formal way, and you create this eagerness. You feed, you nurture the eagerness. You are welcome, and the candidate can look forward to be part of such a team. What I did hear from a couple of friends of mine who changed jobs, that they were already invited to certain team events or a Christmas party, like we just had Christmas. So if you're running already, of course, now with COVID, there are always limitations, but a lot of things are happening online. But just the fact that you can also join online even before you are your actual hiring date, it really gives boost. You feel connected, you feel you are welcomed, you feel you are recognized. People start knowing your name. They can also send already some photos of the place to work. There's a lot of things that you can do just to keep the connection going. And I would say, like, at least once a week, before, specifically if it's a longer period that you need to cover, please stay in touch at least once a week, even if it's just a small mail, like we think about you, and we just had this information that might be already important for you, or you can, that it's really an essential part of the onboarding in that phase. Because even if they signed, people still cannot, it's possible that they don't show up the first day because they have another opportunity, or they have second thoughts. So you need to nurture the bond from the beginning.
Yeah, indeed. Like, as I said, it is in marketing. When you have, a customer, it's not because the customer bought one product for you, or just, used your sample, or just, started to do something. It's like, for instance, with the fitness, you go to the fitness, you go 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. But if you don't have a coach that really helps you through it and motivates you, then you stop, and like so many people. So anyway, that's just perhaps an example that I wanted to give. Okay. In the meantime, I'm looking at the questions. Katherina, there is one question from Anna, and she asks, how do you feel about applications tracking systems, ATS robots?
Yeah, I think a lot of companies do have those systems in place, and actually I think for the recruiters, it's really great because they have a whole database of when they talk to which candidates. I think ATS can also help guide the recruiter to make sure that everybody gets a reply on time. They will be able to see, this person responded 2 weeks ago and I didn't get back to him or her. So I think there are a lot of good things there. I also see sometimes that more and more of these ATS have then a connection with your website. And so to make also like to order it nicely on the company website. And I think there that's not always the best the best thing for the user experience, because what I see there then is that, for example, you can there is a drop-down list, so to make a selection of the available vacancies, but it is based on the internal departments, because of course in the ATS back-end system, let's say, they know marketing has those vacancies, operations has those vacancies, and then it is on the website it is also built up like that, and then it's not, because how do I know as an external party which type of jobs are linked to operations? So I think there's a lot of benefits, but it is mainly a recruiter-based or driven system, and it is not taken from the candidate experience view or perspective. So I think companies need to check out what is the impact of the candidate experience when they build their career pages on their website around an ATS that is actually meant to be an internal system. I hope that is an answer to your question.
Yeah. If not, because we are coming at the end of our live, Katherina, I will perhaps show to the people, and you can explain if they want to be in touch with you. Of course, if you guys still have questions and you see this live later or you listen to it later, you can put it in the comments or reach out to Katherina. What is the best way to reach you? I have put your Instagram, Clubhouse handle.
Yes, Instagram or LinkedIn. You can always find me under Katherina Swings and send me a personal message. If you have questions about this topic, then please reach out to me. I can offer you a strategic boost your vacancies session, and that is like a 45-minute talk where you can explain me the challenges you have, but also the dreams that you or the expectations you want to achieve, the results that you want to set up and put in place, and then we can discuss if I can help you further with those achievements, so that we can easily do if you contact me for that. So more than welcome. So my last message is: be the best host you can be.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone. And I'll see you in the next live or next video. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.